You're good.
Am I sweating?
Just a little.
bit.
Sure, you all ready.
Coach, you got Auburn coming up. How do you feel about the team right now?
Well, more than anything, man, we have to bounce back. We had, one of our worst performances, in conference on the road at Arkansas. And they came out and put pressure on us from the start. We didn't respond well until the first couple of possessions in the second half. But we got to come back out with more of what one of my mentors called fiber, Greg Popovich. He talks about fiber, which is another word for toughness. So we got to have that mental and physical toughness for a longer duration of the game. We only played about 8 or 10 real good minutes of that game, if that much. That's not going to be good enough against Auburn.
After the first game, you called your offense lethargic, the first game against Auburn. How do you prevent that from happening again?
Our guys just standing in mud. We got to get our guys moving a little bit more. We got to get out of mud. We got to get out of the quicksand and move and cuts and stop holding the ball so much. But they understand the difference in when we have success on offense and when we've been unsuccessful. They've seen it quite a bit on video. We work on it in practice, and I just got to do a better job of getting them ready to play because we weren't ready to play in our last game, and we were stuck in mud, and we're not good. And it puts a lot of pressure on our defense when we're very ineffective on offense.
You guys are ranked 150th in three-point defense. Auburn should, I think, is second in the conference in three-pointers. I mean, what do you identify as the reason why you guys haven't been able to defend the perimeter?
Well,
everything else.
Yeah,
You are a good defensive team.
Right, and I just think it's what we call individual tendencies. When a guy's a three-point shooter, we give him too much space. And if you give Harper and Heron space tomorrow and Brown space coming off the bench and Purifoy, they'll make you pay. Sometimes we get a little bit confused in our rotations. If we're playing bigger lineups, the other big guy that's not defending the basket has to do a better job of defending the perimeter for us if he's caught in rotation.
I wanted to ask you, obviously, you want to have a game-by-game approach. You don't want to kind of get too ahead or too emotional and all that. But how much do you maybe feed off, or are you going to tell this team to feed off what that felt like at Auburn, the way they the way the game ended?
Yeah,
you were upset.
Well, more than anything, I was disappointed in our play.
Okay.
I think everybody wants me to talk about maybe a walk-on kid throwing up a three at the basket. I was more disappointed at us having a one-point lead and how we kind of just exploded a little bit on offense, and whether it's careless turnovers, poor execution. That's what I was more concerned about.
You went to that bigger lineup after the loss to Auburn, but given that they are a good perimeter team, and you said that when you have two bigs on the floor at the same time, there is some issues with closing out on the perimeter.
Could be, but our bigs have had a chance to work on it more. When Jimmy's at 4, now more than any time since we are using that lineup, he's had a chance to figure out, hey, coach, what do you want me to do in these situations compared to just practices. Now we have a couple of game reps when they're out there on the floor because we still like to play big sometimes. That lineup can be effective for us, but we all have to be on the same page, especially with Jimmy playing some 4 of how we want him to function out on the perimeter with some of our defense, where, for most of his career since I've been here, he's normally been defending the basket.
Two things that were problematic in the first game at Auburn were, and they're related, their ability to get to the free throw line and the way that Wiley played down on the block. Do you approach that differently?
Yeah, Wiley had us on our heels too much. We were the hunted, we weren't the hunters, if that's a good illustration. We just weren't aggressive enough. We weren't aggressively smart. Too many cheap fouls. He's a load in there. And when he's ducking in there trying to take the whole arena with him, we got to do a better job of defending those situations. But some of our fouls were touch fouls, and we have to get in legal guarding position. And when we are, I think we'll do a good job of not getting in the bonus so early.
How much does the true two towers, you said Dante and Jimmy? How much could they, working together, negate some of what Wiley does?
Well, I think it all depends on who they have on the floor. Sometimes they like to play two big centers, whether it's Spencer and Wiley or McLemore and Wiley. I just think you have to see, the opportunities we have to play our two big guys. We had more than enough of a chance to win the game. Our start to the game was poor. We had possessions when we were small at 4, and we didn't do a good job of taking care of the ball. There were some opportunities we had when Wiley was switching on some of our perimeter players. We looked like we didn't know what to do. So hopefully in those situations, whatever type of defense we see, we're prepared for it. They know what to do. We just hope that we get to production.
Is the preparation for Wiley a little easier this time now that you'll have a little more film on him? He's played more games in Auburn.
I don't know if you would call it easy, because if you watch the film that I've watched, not only in our games, but his game against Tennessee, his game against TCU, if you watch that game, I don't know if it's easier, but I just think we know a little bit more of what to expect, and we know if we're always on our heels, if he's always 100% of the time the aggressor, we're not going to be effective. We have to be aggressively smart and not be on our heels. And I think also when he's on defense, we can't just let him stand in the one-man zone. We have to be smart at how we want to attack him when he's on defense.
I would imagine it's safe to say he's not playing like a kid straight out of high school, I guess. What does he look like?
No, he's not playing like a kid. How old is he now? Is he 19? So 18? Is he 18? Well, he's playing like a 28-year-old. He's a load down there. And even on the offensive glass, we got to make sure we have 2, maybe 3 bodies on him on the offensive glass, because, when he gets it and puts it back in, that's a problem. Or when you have to foul him, and if he's going to the free throw line, 19 times, and we're only getting to the free throw line 19 times as a team, that's not good for us.
You're now 3 games into your career in this rivalry game. I guess when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the heat of it, does this feel different than any other game maybe you're playing the game?
Oh, it does. And if I would have said no, this is a normal game, that would be inaccurate. That's not a fact. That would actually be a lie. All right.
Alternative fact?
Yeah, I'm not you saying that. I didn't say that. But no, it's a heated rivalry, and that's why when I went, I didn't get a welcome reception at Auburn. Some people remind me about some stuff in my past, right? So I got a rude welcome at their arena. That's a part of it. I'm sure when our football team goes there, or when their football team goes here, I don't think anybody gets a welcome reception. That's a part of it. So yes, it's the one true rivalry in the SEC, right? You may have some other games against some other schools, but it's an in-state rivalry, and I'm sure Ole Miss and Mississippi State have it on their end, and that's a part of it.
Still a couple more questions, Coach.
Any more?
Anything else, guys?
Thank you, Coach.
All right.